Alexa, Alexa, play some. Alexa, play some. Alexa, play some thunderstorm sounds.
Titled Bitcoin Basics, and in this video we're going to be talking about my favorite topic, which is how to make money trading Bitcoin, because that's what I do. I'm a professional trader. I've been doing it for well over a decade now. And before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the future videos that I'm rolling out for you. Now, who am I? Why should you listen to me? If we haven't met before, my name is Chris Dunn. I am a professional trader, and I've actually been trading stocks and futures since I was in high school in 2001. And I founded the E-mini Trading Academy in 2008. If you don't know what E-minis are, they are a type of a futures contract. And I have a team who develops strategies and software, and we have a training course and a daily trading room, and just a lot of support for our futures traders. And so I started that in 2008, and then in 2013, I actually jumped on the Bitcoin bandwagon after being pretty skeptical about it for quite some time. And so I started trading Bitcoin, and at least where we are today, I've had 5 Bitcoin trades, all profitable, and I'm averaging about 15 to 20% per Bitcoin trade. Now, I'll prove that to you here in a second. I know that sounds pretty big and audacious, but I'll actually prove that to you and show you how you can track me and actually trade along with me. I'm also a world adventure junkie. My wife, who is actually behind the screen here, she is a full-time professional trader as well, and we travel 6 to 9 months out of the year around the world. I'm a scuba diver. I love scuba diving in Thailand and Australia and Central America. And anyway, let's move on. So the way that you can follow me for trades is, the first way is on Twitter. It's just twitter.com/ChrisDunnTV, ChrisDunnTV, or TradingView, which is a website I'm going to show you here in a second. And I'm going to link all these below, but it's dun.ly/Chris-TradingView. Or on Facebook, you can like my Facebook page and see a lot of the videos and cool stuff that I do there as well. Dunley Chris-Facebook. Okay? So let's go ahead and dive right in. So what is trading? Trading is basically where you buy and sell stuff and you keep a profit. Okay, that's kind of the real basic way to say it. Now, there's a couple of ways to do that. Number one, you could go long, which is where you buy low and sell high, right? And then keep the difference. You could do that with stocks, you could do that with futures, you could do that with real estate. And hell, you can even now do it with Bitcoin, right? So you can buy something at $1, sell it at $10, and keep the difference, right? Now, what a lot of people don't know is you can actually make money as the price of things come down as well. And I've made a lot of money doing this in Bitcoin recently, where you go short. So you can actually sell first. And this might sound a little crazy if you've never heard of it, but you can actually go short by selling first, sell high, and then buy back later at a lower price and keep the difference. So you can make money as the price of something goes up and as the price of something comes down. Now, you can't short everything. I don't think you can short like physical real estate, but you can short ETFs, exchange traded funds. You can short futures, you can short Bitcoin and stocks, and Forex, foreign exchange or currencies. And the third way to make money trading is through arbitrage. This is where you'll buy something at, say, exchange number 1. So you'll buy, say, 1 Bitcoin at exchange number 1, and then you'll immediately sell that same Bitcoin at exchange number 2 to keep the difference. So those are the 3 ways. Arbitrage is actually very difficult to do in the Bitcoin market. The spreads, the bid-ask spreads are very big, meaning what you can buy and what you can sell for. There's typically a lot of room there. And also, the fees for Bitcoin are quite high as well. So in a lot of cases right now, it doesn't make sense to do arbitrage, but what is a lot easier is what we call directional trading, where you buy low, sell high, or short and sell high and buy back lower. Okay, so why trade Bitcoin? I just want to talk about some of the benefits of trading Bitcoin. It's very, very volatile, meaning there are big swings in price. And on the news, if you watch CNBC or anything like that, everybody's afraid of volatility. They go, oh my God, the markets are so volatile right now. What do? We have a big swing here and a big swing there. For day traders, that's where the money is made. That's where you can clean up and make a ton of money. It's when things are boring and kind of flat and steady, that's where it's kind of more difficult to pull money out of a market. And what creates this right now is a lot of emotion in Bitcoin. You have a lot of speculation, a lot of people that are just finding out about Bitcoin and going, oh my God, Bitcoin's taking over the dollar. Let me just put all my retirement into that. Oh, Bitcoin's falling. Let me panic sell. And what that does is it creates really big swings in the price. And the second thing is, this kind of goes hand in hand. Right now, it's really easy to predict. Again, I've had 5 trades, all 5 were profitable. I'm just nailing this because it's so easy. And the reason why it's easy is because of the other person on the other side of your trade. Right? Every time you buy or sell something, there's somebody or something on the other side of that trade. It could be another individual trader like you or I, could be an investor, could be a robot, computer robot, which I highly recommend staying away from any kind of trading robots. 99.9% of them are scams. Or it could be institutional money, it could be a hedge fund. But right now, it's just easy to predict because there's a lot of dumb money in the market. There's people that are just throwing dollars in and out of the market, creating big swings. And so if you're a professional and you understand human psychology, you can make a lot of money. Now, some things to consider. Number one is there's no regulated exchanges. No government has control over Bitcoin, which I think is a great thing. But at the same time, there's no oversight. There's no watchdog who's going to take care of you if an exchange goes under or if they try to screw you over. So it really is the Wild Wild West right now, so you have to be conservative and you have to be really aware of the exchanges that you're trading through, because there are some that I quite frankly don't trust and I won't put hardly any money with. Also, there's big bid-ask spreads, as I just mentioned. There's if you were to buy a Bitcoin and then sell it right away, there's a spread there. So over here you have a group of people that are willing to buy, say, I don't know, 500, and over here you have people that are willing to sell, say, $510. That's a $10 spread, right? So if you were somebody who said, I want to buy, then you have to go to the sellers and say, okay, I will buy for 510. And then if you turn around and say, well, I just want to sell this, I'm going to sell it for 500 to the first buyer, you lose 10 bucks, right? So where in the stock market and the futures markets, sometimes those spreads, because it's more liquid, they're smaller. So that's just something to consider. That's a cost of trading. It's a cost of doing business. Number 3 is the fees. The fees right now in Bitcoin are pretty high. For example, anytime you have a new market, the fees and the commissions are always higher than they are after the market becomes established. So I first started trading E-mini futures back in 2001 when they were first becoming popular, and we were paying, I think, $14 to $17 to buy and sell a futures contract. Today, that's fallen. We're paying under $4 to buy and sell. So the costs have come down a lot over time. And because Bitcoin is so new right now, the fees are just a little bit higher. So just keep that in mind. And it's best to trade for a minimum move of 5% in the price of Bitcoin. So let's say Bitcoin is at $1,000. You want to see that thing move 5%, right? I think that's $50. And the reason why is because of the fees and the spreads. If you're trying to trade and make, a few pennies or a couple of dollars, at the end of the day, you're not going to be making money because the fees and the spread are just going to eat you alive. And the slippage too, if you try to buy with a market order, you could get a really bad fill and pay a lot higher than you really wanted to. So what I do on my trades, I'm looking for potential moves. So I want to see the potential for Bitcoin to move at least 10 to 20%. If I don't see that, then I'm really not interested. Every time I do a prediction, everybody says, okay, Chris, that's great. But what's next? Okay, you just closed your trade 2 minutes ago. What do we do now? And a lot of times, I don't know. I have to wait for the setup to really develop, right? I have to look for a high probability scenario. So let's go ahead and move on, and we'll jump into some charts. So the first thing is you need to choose an exchange. We talked a little bit about this in some prior videos, but I just want to reiterate some things. Coinbase, I think, is a great place to start actually buying your first Bitcoins. And if you click the link below, I actually have a referral link that if you fund an account with at least $100, they'll send to both of us $5 worth of Bitcoin. So that's pretty cool. But Coinbase isn't the best place for actually actively trading Bitcoin, because their fees are pretty high, and they're not really set up that way. The best exchanges that I know of at the time of this video are Bitstamp.net, BTC-E, so BTC-E as a lot of people call it, and Bitfinex. This is great for shorting. And then you also have Mt. Gox. So Bitstamp, BTC-E, Mt. Gox, and Bitfinex. So these are really, the four kind of major ones. And over 99% of the Bitcoin market share is actually traded through these four exchanges. So if you want to short, sign up with Bitfinex, which I highly recommend, because you can make just as much money, if not more, on the downside than trying to buy. And everybody thinks they have to speculate and just buy low and sell high, but I think about 70% of my profits from Bitcoin so far have come on the downside, so that's huge. And I do have accounts with all these exchanges. I recommend going through the headaches of actually setting up and verifying your information. It'll just make your life a lot easier. So this is kind of my Bitcoin trading strategy. And in a little bit, I'm actually going to tell you how you can join a webinar where I'm going to be live trading some Bitcoin. But I just want to give you kind of the 30,000-foot overview of my strategy. What I do is I use technical analysis. So I look at charts and I look at candlestick price bars and moving averages and Fibonacci and all this stuff that we'll talk about. I use this stuff to help understand what the herd is doing. Okay, what the mass majority of people are thinking, believing, and the actions they're taking. I want to know if people are panicking, if people are, woohoo, Bitcoin is going to the moon, we're buying, where you have exuberant bullishness, where price is just going parabolic, shooting to the moon. And you can use technical analysis, you can use charting to kind of quantify what's happening. It's a visual representation of all the action of all market participants. That's basically what technical analysis is. Now, it's important to think like a contrarian. In other words, you want to do the opposite of what the masses do. 90% of people or more in every financial market lose money. I'm going to let that sink in for a second. Imagine you have 10 people in a room that are trading Bitcoin. 9 out of 10 of those are probably going to lose money. And for you, if you're smart, that's a good thing. That means there's a lot of dumb money in the market. And so what you want to do is when people are panicking, right, when people are, oh my God, Bitcoin's crashing, let's sell, 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 in some cases you want to look for places to buy. You want to look for reasons to buy when others are selling. Now, you don't want to just try to catch a falling knife, right? Like if the price is just stabbing and you go, okay, the price of Bitcoin is falling, I'm just going to buy. That's not a strategy. That's just kind of I guess, an idea. But you want to start thinking that way. Like, okay, is everybody really excited about Bitcoin's price? And on the news, are they talking about how Bitcoin's price is going to the moon? It's probably not the best time to buy. the old quote by Warren Buffett is, when people are greedy, be scared, and when people are scared, be greedy. And everybody knows the old cliche of buy low, sell high, but nobody actually does it. Everybody ends up doing the opposite because of fear and greed, which are the two primary emotions that really run the markets. Okay, and so when they're scrambling to buy, look for places to sell. And this is what I've done in the past 5 trades that I've had. I've nailed them all, have an average profit of above 15% on each trade. The reason why I'm able to do that is because there's so much of this emotion, and I understand how to read this, and I'll show you how to as well. And one thing I'll also say is, so you can be a contrarian, you can also ride a trend if you can get in early. So if the price of Bitcoin is going up, that doesn't mean that you can't buy, but you need to think in terms of wholesale opportunity. Let's say you own a bicycle shop, and you want to sell premium bikes that go for $1,000 a bike. I don't know. So the retail price is $1,000. You're not going to buy a bike for $1,000 hoping to sell it at $1,000, right? You're going to want to think in terms of wholesale. How can I get a bike at $500 or $250 and then sell it higher? You need to think in those terms in the stock market or the Bitcoin market or the futures market as well. Because if you're just kind of saying, I believe in Bitcoin, and there's so many Bitcoin cheerleaders out there that are saying this is going to change the world, and I'm one of them. I really think Bitcoin has some huge prospects, but that doesn't mean that it's worth buying just at any price. You have to be really smart with risk management and with just understanding, the human psychology. So one thing that I've been doing recently is posting all of my predictions and my trades here on TradingView. And again, make sure to click the link below to follow me on TradingView so you can actually see all of these trades and these predictions that I've posted. Here is an example of the short that I just closed about an hour ago. One thing that I was telling everybody was, look, I'm shorting up in this area up around 940, and I think we're going to come down somewhere around the 820s. And then the way that you use TradingView is you can hit this little load new bars button, kind of the play button here, and that'll show you what has happened since I made this prediction. So what this does is it gets rid of the hindsight trading. I can't go back in history and go, oh yeah, if we look at the price here, it would have made a great short. But what this does is it actually keeps people in check and keeps the bullshit out of it, because you'll notice when I post this, it was right here, and then this is what happened since then. So I start off with my entry levels, my stop levels, basically where I get out of the trade, and then where I think the trade's going to go to. So I did close this. I got out a little bit above the green level down here, but I live tweeted my reasons why I was doing that, and there were a lot of people that were following me that I think made some decent money on this trade. So that's one way to do it, and I'll just show you some of the other trades here that I think are just really, really amazing. You can see this was prior to this short. I had a really nice long. I actually had bought.
Want to learn more about cryptocurrencies? You should take online cryptocurrency courses on Udemy. They've got fresh new courses, all taught by expert instructors. You'll learn to buy and sell Bitcoin, identify coins with great potential, use exchanges like Poloniex and Bittrex, everything you need to know, and all for the price of lunch. You can take the courses at any time on any device, and if they don't work out, you can always get your money back within 30 days. I can't wait to see what you do with this. Stop searching and get started with this special discount.
So you want to learn how to trade Bitcoin, but you have all these different websites, exchanges, and tools, and all this stuff, all these people telling you different things on how to get started. Well, this video is going to help you kind of filter out all that mumbo jumbo and just get right down to business. And I mean right into it, like trading to that. So pretty much this video is designed to go over Bittrex, which is a cryptocurrency exchange, how to trade on it, what everything kind of means, and just pretty much where to get started. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So here I have my test account set up, and I had deposited 0.1 Bitcoin into my exchange account. So obviously the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to sign up on Bittrex.com, get an account set up, and then go to the wallet tab. And the wallet tab is just a list of all of the cryptocurrencies, all the altcoins that you can trade with. If you look at the top one here, it says Bitcoin. And then you have the symbol BTC, that's the ticker symbol for Bitcoin, if you didn't know. And you have a plus and a minus button right there. The plus button is to deposit Bitcoin. So again, if you're really new to this, this is your BTC deposit address. It's also represented in the QR code here, so if you had a friend that just wanted to send Bitcoin directly to the exchange, you can pull this up and take a snapshot and then send Bitcoin directly to this address on the Bittrex exchange. So I like to tell people it's kind of like your email address for Bitcoin, but there's no like @.com on there. Obviously, it's a cryptic address here. So I went ahead and already deposited some Bitcoin to that address, and you can see your pending withdrawals, pending deposits, deposit history, and withdrawal history. Pretty much sums up everything going in and out of your account. And you can see here in my deposit history, I recently deposited 0.1 Bitcoin into my Bittrex account, and it's represented there. When it's incoming, meaning when you send the Bitcoin and it hasn't actually showed up in the exchange yet, it will show up in the pending deposits section here. And usually Bittrex waits for like 2 confirmations, so that could take between 10 and 20 minutes to actually end up on the exchange. It all depends on how active the blockchain is in terms of like transactions coming through the network and some other factors. Okay. Pending withdrawals and withdrawal history, that kind of goes without saying. So at the top here, you have this bar. You have a market tab. You have two types of markets here. You have a Bitcoin market and you have a USD market. USD is the US dollars, so that means you can trade some of these altcoins or Bitcoin against the US dollar on this exchange. But what I really want to focus on today is what you're probably going to be starting off doing is trading your Bitcoin for other alternative currencies. So if you click this down arrow, it just lists all the different altcoins that are on the exchange. But a better view of all of this is just going directly home to the Bittrex homepage here, and you can see the list of all the currencies. Okay. So starting from the top, since you're brand new to this is just a banner. You know, these altcoins or cryptocurrency companies, they pay Bittrex to have their coin or asset promoted on the top here. So that's what you're going to be looking at. It's kind of like an ad, but it's not like Google Ads, obviously. And what Bittrex likes to do too is they like to display the biggest gains, top volume, and some other parameter coins up here. Okay. And moving down, and what we're concerned about is the market. So these are all the different assets here that you can trade against with your Bitcoin. So once you have your Bitcoin on the exchange, you can trade any of these. Like, you can look at it like the stock market. Like, you can pretend that this is Apple, GE, Google, whatever. It's pretty much the same type of thinking, right? These are just like the ticker symbols for the altcoins. The currency, it's just, okay, the currency is, it's the full name for the actual asset. Volume is important here. This is actually really, really important. So usually more popular coins have a heavier volume, meaning that there are more people actually exchanging the Bitcoins for the altcoins in a given 24-hour period. So what this represents here, 113 Bitcoins in volume. That means 113 Bitcoins were exchanged. That means some seller and some buyer exchanged the coins. So if some seller was selling 1 Bitcoin worth of club, and some buyer came in and bought that, that would represent 1 Bitcoin in volume. Does that kind of make sense? If you have any questions about that, just leave it a comment in the section below, and I'll be happy to answer in more detail. The change, percent change, obviously that's, you can look here, this asset went up 3.1%, and Singular DTV went down 10% today, and that is within a 24-hour period. Okay. Last trade, that obviously represents what the last trade was, what the actual value was of that last trade, and that is represented in Bitcoin, and we'll get more into that in just a second. 24-hour high, 24-hour low, percent spread. I'll go over that in just 1 second, and then simply just the date that it was added to the exchange, and it's kind of cool to see. You can see a lot of the older coins in 2014. You have Dogecoin, Feathercoin, Litecoin, and it kind of just goes from there. So. All right, so without further ado, let's just get right into a coin here, and we can see how it trades and kind of look at the chart. So let me just pick one at random here. Okay, let's pick XMR. This is Monero. This is a popular coin right now. At this current time, who knows, 2 years, 3 years down the road, if this is even going to be a thing. Monero is probably going to stick around for a little while. They have a good reputation going on right now. But as you can see here, you have a couple of things to look at, right? You have a whole chart, and you have different tabs above the chart. If I go to the 1 day here, you can kind of see a bigger picture, right? So what this means, we'll start off with the chart first, okay? What this means is 1 day, right? What does 1 day represent? 1 day represents one little line here, right? So tomorrow there'll be another line that shows up here, right in this area. I'll zoom in a little bit. So we'll have another line that shows up here. Okay. If we go down, or if we go up to the 3 day, every line here represents a 3 day, and you kind of get the picture. A lot of people like to trade within the 1 hour. It's usually a default time frame to trade in for altcoins, but obviously you can trade in whatever time frame you want. There's tools here. I'm not really going to get into the tools. You can kind of play around with it. One tool you can use here is a line. You can kind of see the downtrend of a market, but I encourage you to look up some other videos on YouTube or subscribe to my channel to maybe learn some more of these tools. Order book. This is kind of difficult for some people to understand right away, and I get it. It's not really easy to understand just by looking at it at first, but once you know it, you kind of don't forget it. So on the x-axis here, right, we have the price of Monero, right? It goes from a really, really low price all the way to a really, really high price. And you can see this big red wall or blob, and you can see this green blob. The red blob is the stack of sell orders represented in Bitcoin. So on the y-axis here, it doesn't explicitly say Bitcoin, I don't think. No. It doesn't say Bitcoin, but 100 here means that there's 100 Bitcoins worth of that asset being sold here. And I can just kind of hover over it right here. So right there, right between the green and the red, do you kind of understand what that would mean. If not, that's okay. Green just represents the bulk of Bitcoin being bought at that given price. So, and the actual order book's moving like crazy because there's bots set up. But you can see here at 123, there are about 15 Bitcoins being, or on the order book to buy Monero. And then if you go on the other side, you can see at a higher price, you have 40 Bitcoins being sold at 130, okay? And where these two meet is where the current market price is, okay? And if you didn't understand that, let me just scroll down here to look at the live order book here. So you have your order book, you have bids, and you have asks, okay? If you don't really know too much about the bid and the ask book, this is something good to pay attention to right now. So on the bid side, you have people that are willing to buy, that are willing to pay that money, that dollar, that Bitcoin for Monero, but they're not going to pay. They're not going to pay exactly what the market price is, right? So they're going to place an order that is a little bit lower, right? So this order book just represents a stack of orders at different prices that someone's willing to pay, that someone's willing to buy Monero for, okay? And kind of like the opposite on the other side of things, on the ask book, you have a bunch of people who are holding on to Monero. They're holding on to Monero, but they want to sell it for a little bit higher than what someone's willing to buy it for, okay? So inherently, that creates two sides, okay? So like you have here with the order book, the overall visual representation of the order book, you have two sides. You have a sell side and a buy side. And down here, it's just represented in numbers. You have a buy side and you have a sell side, okay? And there is a slight gap. There's a slight gap between the highest bid order and the lowest sell order, okay? And what that gap is called in any market, it's called the spread. The spread is the difference between the lowest sell order and the highest bid order. And when the spread goes to zero, that's when a trade is executed. That is when volume is created, and that is when you have a tick on this graph, if that makes sense. And again, if you don't understand that or need more clarification, just leave a comment below, and I'll kind of go into that into more detail. Okay? So, on Bittrex here, when you place an order, your order will go into the open orders. And from what I can remember when I first started trading Bitcoin was I didn't know if I could place orders and cancel it without being charged, right? So if I place an order and then say, hey, you know what, I just want to cancel it for whatever reason you want to cancel it for, Bittrex or any other exchange is never going to charge you. They're never going to charge you to cancel that order. Okay? So that gives you a lot of freedom to place orders and take them off the books, right? And that enables all these bots on these exchanges to place orders and then take them away. And you can see right now that you have all these different orders appearing and disappearing. And those are just bots. Those are more than likely not like humans on their computer clicking around, okay? And then if you scroll down a little bit more, you can see the market history tab. This goes without saying, it's pretty much what the last
But there's also a very other simple but important shot here, and that's this 50-50. It's a good confrontational angle.
So I was 18 years old when I made my first $1 million.
How did it feel?
It felt pretty great. It felt great. Did towards some Lamborghinis. There's a dealership in Newport Beach that takes Bitcoin for Lamborghinis. I'm Eric Finman, and I'm one of the youngest Bitcoin millionaires in the world. So this is the place. We got a lot of beds here. I like to have a lot of friends over. I don't really like cuddling, so that's why I have a lot of beds. Pretty minimalistic, so I don't like to have too many clothes. That's pretty much it. I like to just live a life of gym t-shirt and gym shorts perpetually. Hey, you know, if you got money, why do you have to dress nice? I check my Bitcoin every 30 minutes, so I get a notification of the price. So I originally got into Bitcoin when I was just 12 years old, when it was about $10, $12 a coin. And I had one of my brothers, he really got into it, and we were very close, and then we really got into all this Bitcoin stuff. I was very fortunate enough to have kind of a grandmother. She had an extra $1,000 to give her kids for a scholarship fund. So I put that $1,000 into Bitcoin, so I was able to amass about 400 plus Bitcoins. So there you go. So this is Purse. This is a website that allows you to buy things off of Amazon, and then it also gives you a discount because you're using Bitcoin rather than all the fees of credit cards and all that stuff.
What do you use to check your Bitcoin?
So that's where I have a hardware key to check. I have a hard drive that I keep in secure locations.
It is a disruptive technology.
It's not regulated, it can't be tracked, and it tends to attract people who are doing illegal things.
There are a couple people, kind of top politicians, some Wall Street people, they're saying that Bitcoin is not going to work out, and Bitcoin is kind of used for bad things, and that recently has affected the price because politicians and Wall Street people are very afraid of what Bitcoin will do to them and their industry. So school is maybe not the best thing for me, to say the least. I didn't really particularly enjoy it. I had a lot of teachers that were maybe not the most positive. One teacher told me to drop out and work at McDonald's because that's all I'll ever amount to in life. So I left, I dropped out when I was 15, and I went and started an education company that would help people learn better. It was to give people access to good teachers if you didn't have any locally. I wonder how I came up with that idea.
People ever call you Smarty Pants?
No.
No, maybe they should. Eric Finman is the founder of PhoneTangle.
I think you can learn 1,000 million times more on the internet than in a classroom. Everything is there for you. You just need to have the motivation. Most people think that they have to go through this traditional path and they have to do this, and I'm kind of more aware that that's maybe not so much the case. I think about how can I completely do something my way. So if this is the traditional way of doing it, if I thought about how to redo this from scratch, how could I do that? And I think career, that was one, school, that was two, three, kind of currency, Bitcoin and all that stuff. That's what I think is that, in the sense that society and the world's rules limit you in so many ways. If you completely rethought about how you can do something your way, completely from scratch, what would that look like?
We're at Link, we wanted to show you how we created our amazing new website with Wix. Now we know that having a great website is crucial because when we look good online, our brain just feels good.
Check out all these templates, there are hundreds of them, and they're actually fully designed websites. I like this one. It's all drag and drop, and you can change anything you want. Okay, now let's change the text. Also, let's give the font a little twist.
Okay, I'm going to drop in a photo here and make it just right.
I feel like this is a good place to add a gallery. And it's cool because the photos will keep their high-res quality.
I'm pretty impressed with our website, Lee.
My name is Craig Grant, and this is my Bitcoin wallet. 6 Bitcoin that I earned in the past few days. Now I didn't buy this, I earned it. So let's take a look at these transactions. So let's take a look at my recent transactions. Now this wallet is my wallet where I accumulate Bitcoin, and when I get 10 Bitcoin, I send it off to my long-term holding. So this is me earning Bitcoin. See, +1, +1, +1. There goes -9. I guess I earned 10 Bitcoin, so I send it off, or something like that, right? Here goes another 10 that's being sent off, -5, -3, -2. Here's me adding and subtracting, As you can see, I have transactions going on here, back and forth, in my Bitcoin accumulation wallet. Let's call this the accumulation wallet, whereas I accumulate Bitcoin, I earn it. I don't buy it, and I definitely don't sell it. But I earn it and send it off to long-term holding. So how can you also earn? Well, check out my YouTube channel. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to sell anything. You don't even need to, enroll anyone or get referrals or affiliates. You can simply sit back and earn doing nothing at all. Really? Yes, that's true. That's very true, right? So I earn Bitcoin using a service or an application called BitConnect. We have a large community of many users who are all happy using BitConnect. The one thing I like to say about BitConnect is everyone wins, no one loses. Everyone wins, no one loses. And BitConnect like to say that there's no risk involved. But of course, life incurs risks, so I'm not going to agree with that. But so far, my experience with BitConnect is, for the past 7 months, is there's no risk involved. So check me out on my YouTube channel. Learn something new, right? Have fun.
Hi, this is a relatively detailed video on cryptocurrency, and I've called it Cryptocurrency 101, and it's more in the form of a lecture than anything else. Right, why is this video important? Many people do not understand cryptocurrency. They hear these terms, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, blockchain, and they don't understand what that actually means and how it came about and how it actually works. So this video is meant to delineate any possible challenges or queries you may have in terms of how this whole thing comes together and what these things mean. Okay, so I have 6 steps. Now, it's almost impossible to get through the whole of cryptocurrency in under 30 minutes, so what I can do is I have other videos on cryptocurrency which are already quite popular, and so step 4 and step 5 have already been published on YouTube, and you're welcome to watch those videos. This video is kind of the bare bones. After watching this video, you should have quite a solid foundation in terms of why it's called cryptocurrency. What is the public key? Why do I have a private key? Why is it a virtual currency? What is a wallet? So I'm answering all these things, but also explaining the how of this. How does this work? Why do we need these things? Okay, so I have step 1, understanding the basics, cryptography. Now, don't get lost, don't worry, I will explain all these things, and if you aren't following, I will come back to it. Step 2 is get on a platform. You understand cryptography to some degree, you know what it's doing. Now you're ready to buy Bitcoin, I guess. So you've got to get on a platform. And step 3 is buy and sell the cryptocurrency. I'm going to get right in. I'm going to tell you how to buy and sell cryptocurrency. Step 4 is deposit the Bitcoin, for example, on an exchange. Now I have that in another video, but I'm just giving you these steps that I would follow if I was someone new to cryptocurrency in getting my foot in the door there. And step 6 is do your homework, and I will get into some further details there about blockchain and all the implications of it. So let's move right in. Step 1, understanding the basics. What is cryptocurrency? A cryptocurrency is a digital asset. Now usually when you say the word asset, it's something you can see and touch. Now the word digital is giving the idea that this is something that is virtual. So a cryptocurrency is a digital asset designed to work as a medium of exchange using cryptography. And we use it to secure the transactions and to control the creation of additional units of the currency. Okay, the things that stand out there. Cryptocurrency, digital asset, medium of exchange, cryptography. So what is cryptography then? Why do I need cryptography if I'm using digital currency? Well, cryptography is the practice and the study of techniques for securing communication. Remember that when we trade on the internet, this is an insecure place. So we need to secure our transactions or our communications. So cryptography is the practice and study of techniques for secure communication in the presence of third parties called adversaries. What does that mean? It means there's people on the internet who are interested in interfering with our data, whether they want to steal from us, manipulate it, or have their own gain. So this is why we have cryptography. Cryptography is about constructing and analyzing protocols that prevent third parties or the public from reading private messages. Now, where we are in the 21st century, we're living in the information age. Okay, this is obvious. But our information is no longer stored on pen and, with paper and things like this behind a locked safe. It's stored digitally. Therefore, we need to have an ability to secure this using software. And this is where the cryptography comes in. So in other words, information is an asset that has a value like other assets, and therefore we need to secure it. So as an asset, information needs to be secured from attacks. To be secured, information needs to be hidden from unauthorized access. And this is where the 3 pillars of cryptography come in. And yes, there are lots of pictures in this presentation. It's not just going to be me reading text, please. Okay, so the 3 pillars of cryptography are confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So we need it to be protected from unauthorized change, meaning the communication needs to have its integrity. If somebody interfered with the message, they reduce the integrity of that communication. And it must be available. There's no point having a currency that we cannot trade because between the hours of 4 and 6 in the afternoon it's unavailable, for example. Alright, so here is a crude example of access points, access users who are trying to access communication on a network. And here we've got somebody sitting on a laptop. Here we've got a computer in a house. Here's someone at their office. Here's cell phones, voice over IP phones, ATM, tablets, whatever. All these users are trying to access network resources, and they have personal information which they are sending and receiving on an unsecured network. Now, what are all these funny looking black hats here? Well, here we have the adversaries. People are trying to look at our data and possibly change it. Now, a more accurate picture of what this would look like in terms of network equipment. We've got a user here, and users are connected to a switch. This is just the symbol for a switch. Now, if you're not following this, don't worry. I am going to explain this in more detail. I'm going to tell you how to trade, how to buy Bitcoin, all these things, but I'm explaining the basics. If you do not care about the basics and you just want to buy Bitcoin and not know anything about how this thing works and why there's a key and why there's a wallet, then don't watch the video. This is to explain to you the reason why. Okay, so we have people on a network, and this chap over here wants to talk to this chap over here, and he will send his communication through this switch to this router, and then it goes over a WAN. Now you can see this funny looking, almost like a lightning bolt here, and what the difference is this is the usually insecure channel. The LAN is usually your office or your little home network, and it's more secure. It's more controlled, and here it goes over the internet. And this is very important why we need to secure information, because it goes into the public domain. And the chap over here receives the message, and we hope that nobody interfered with it. And just more accurately, here is the internet. You can see that in real life there are hundreds of millions of users on the internet, and the internet is really just clusters of routers connected to routers, linking users to other users and servers to users and users to servers. So this is like an example. Here is the Earth, and look at all these lines of communication. All these points or nodes are places where lots of information is coming through. And why is there these things kind of in space here? Well, these are satellites. So our information travels all over the place, out through the stratosphere and back in, satellite to satellite, over different mediums, air, copper, fiber, fiber optic glass, under the water, underwater sea cables and so forth. So our data is in the public domain, and that is one of the reasons why we need to secure it. So let's look at an example. Now, here we've got Alice, and she wants to communicate to Bob. And Alice writes a letter. Dear Bob, let's meet for coffee at Starbucks in Boston on the 25th or whatever. Okay, so she sends this message, and she does not encrypt it. So disregard the encryption. Here comes the message in plain text. Plain text means that this person here, if he is sniffing using a packet sniffer, being able to look at packets, he just needs access to the channel, which is actually very easy. And if he or she, let's be fair here, if this person or computer has access to the insecure channel, they can literally read the letter in plain text, meaning, dear Bob, let's meet for coffee in this Boston coffee bar, whatever. And then he or she could change that, and Bob gets the message, and it says, hi, this is Alice, I need you to loan me $500. Here's my banking details. And this is the challenge. So what we need to do is we need to convert the plain text into ciphertext. Therefore, we need to encrypt it. And this is where the key comes in. So we encrypt it. It no longer is readable by the third party who is trying to interfere with our communication. Maybe he has the key, maybe he's got a strong, very good knowledge, and he can still encrypt it. But we have different levels of algorithms to encrypt and decrypt. So here's the process. We encrypt our communication, goes over the internet, and we decrypt it. Right, so let's just look at this. This is a plain text, Fox. Now we have a hashing function. Note the word hash. Hashing, this is obviously a word you've heard when you're talking about cryptocurrency, so I'm introducing these words to you. A hashing function takes place where we merge the cryptographic hash function, or the algorithm which changes Fox into something else. And this is now a ciphertext. Now just note, here we have the red fox jumps over the blue dog. Now we have a certain algorithm that runs and hashes it. Hashing means we convert all these letters here into a different format based on a certain set of rules, which I will show you, and we get this output. So this is actually meaningless. Unless you know the key, you can't, this is meaningless to you. So this is the plain text, this is the ciphertext, and this is the hashing function, converting the plain text into ciphertext. Right, so we're moving on now. The word cryptography, when you think about it, or when you do a search, you can see that there are other words that come together with this in this cluster of this topic, or this, sorry, the subject of cryptography. We have something called integrity. I've discussed that. Don't change the message. The message must be unchanged. Message, I spoke about that. A sender and a receiver. Of course, one person is sending, one person is receiving. Computation. Why is computation necessary for cryptography? Well, now we come to the mining. Remember, somebody has to make sense of these transactions. Somebody has to verify the transactions. Somebody has to, also, no, I keep saying somebody, but I mean a computer or a CPU has to apply an algorithm to change your private key into a public key. Look at the word key. Algorithm is a set of rules. So if it's an A, add 5, minus, times this, plus this, and you will see what I mean by, say, algorithm with a set of rules. Remember I spoke about plain text, a code, digital, yes, encryption, means of exchange, an exchange, data, all of this is data. It must be a secret, public. The information travels in the public domain. We have a substitution. Substitution has to do with the cipher. We substitute, maybe instead of an A, we will use a Z, for example. So we substitute something in place of that so that the adversary, the person who's trying to steal that information, does not know. Authentication. So these are words, and you can see how these come together, and it all happens on a network. And there is a stream, a data stream, constant data stream. We have patterns. And then we see a block. I'm sure you've heard of the term blockchain. Block. Right, moving on. So, just an example. Here's plain text, A, B, C, D, E, all the way to Z. And here's the ciphertext. Now, we convert A to a capital A, and then we give it a value, 0, 0. So this is called modulo 26. If you're not following this, don't worry. Just look at the pictures. So I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 25. So this is called modulo 26 because I have 26 bit positions, or numbers. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. So in binary, we start counting from 0. So I don't have 25, I have 26, because don't forget that 0 also holds a position. Alright, so now what we're going to do is apply the rule. Now, use the additive cipher. This is just a rule. So we're saying that whatever you do, add 15 to encrypt the message, hello. For example, I have a plain text and I want to send it to you. The plain text is hello. I'm going to use modular, I'm going to use the key of 15. Now I've already converted this to modulo 26. For example, H is 7. Where did I get that from? Well, remember I showed you. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. H is 7. So H is represented by, or substituted, remember that word, by 7. So H, 7, 4, 11, 11, 14. Okay, perfect. So I've converted the plain text into a substituted numbering system. So I've got 7, 4, 11, 11, 14. But that's not an encryption. In order to encrypt it, I need to apply a rule. So the rule said, just add 15 to everything. Right, so 7 plus 15. The rule I'm using is mod 26. And the ciphertext is now 22, because 7 plus 15 is now 22. So going back, you'll see 22 is sitting here with a W. So when I say add 15 to every one of my plain text numbers, I now get an output that says WTAAD. Now that is the ciphertext. That means that when I transmit my message after applying mod 26 and the rule of 15, I will then be transmitting WTAAD. Alright, so that's a very basic example. And I will encrypt it and somebody will have to decrypt it, knowing the rule. Okay, so the rule is minus 15. Then if I'm minus 15, I can then read the message. Now, please don't think that cipher cryptography is that simple. Let's take another look. Here we have a plain text called enemy attacks tonight. Now you could change this into rows. Enemy attacks tonight, and then shift the row, the columns. And now look what happens. So you created a rule. Separate this into 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's for 5 rows of 5 characters, and then take each row, each column, and shift them by a certain amount. And as long as the receiver knows how to decrypt this message, he will be able to take this mumbo jumbo message here, gobbledygook, and actually decrypt it. Right, so now you're getting to understand what cryptography actually is. So this will get transmitted in the public domain through the routers, switches all over the world, whatever.
These are cryptocurrency technologies or techniques, basic techniques that we're just studying, just trying to get versed on Bitcoin and what it actually is and how it actually works. But we sell cars. If you need a car, give us a call. No matter what your credit situation is like, good credit, bad credit, terrible credit, horrible credit, no credit, no job, give us a call. We'll get you financed. And a newer used car, not an old used car, but a newer used car. New used car. Newer model. Newer looking. Just give you a fresh look, and give you an upgrade for 2018. Have you going into the year just right. And if you buy a car from us, we give you a free Echo Dot. One of these, just for buying a car from us. Alexa, play some thunderstorm sounds.
Here's a station you might like. Kodak Black from Amazon Music.
It decided I wanted to hear some Kodak Black, but that's cool too. But we're located in North Carolina, South Carolina, Jacksonville, Florida. Even we can sell your car if you're in Alabama. If you come see us. We can get you in an automobile. We'll work it out for you. Like I said, good credit, bad credit, no matter what your credit situation is, we will work it out for you. One of our salesmen sold 9 cars today, 10 cars today, counting railways. I can show you a picture of some of the cars or some of the salesmen. We're going to have some interviews with some salesmen and some employees in the car business, people who are going to be, working with us. I had an interview with the guy today. I should have got it on film. I should have either shot it live or actually, matter of fact, that's what I'll do tomorrow. I actually go and talk to one of my salesmen. And we'll shoot a video live. We'll go live. I'm learning how to work this live, the live on my phone. I've just signed into it for the first time tonight. My thing is to increase my video channel. I've got 45 subscribers. I want to turn that into 4,000 subscribers or 4,500 subscribers. First of all, what we'll do, is I'm setting up my next stream. So I'm gonna actually do a double live stream. So I'm streaming from my phone and I'm streaming from my computer. So I'm doing a double stream. And we're going to be listening to some more Bitcoin strategies for a minute before we get back to selling cars. Like I said, these are some basic Bitcoin strategies. If you need a web page, give me a call. I can set you up through iPage, web hosting. I'll get your website. It's time for me to renew my site. So if you want some hosting, I'll host your page. $10 a month, something like that. $100 a year. I'll host your page. Give you access to all the information you need for your page. Okay. Also, I want to wish everybody, tell everybody to be safe out here. People are driving crazy. It's the holidays. We want everybody to be safe and enjoy themselves. Come back and for the end of the year. Come back for 2018 and make some money. Be prosperous. Do what you got to do in 2018. 18. What is that? The triple sixes, the 3 sixes, the 2 times 9. Numerically, it is like a symbol of completion. So let 2018 be a symbol of completion for us. Let us stay focused. Manifest nothing but positivity. Stay away from the negativity for 2018. We want to help you get in a car. To us, that's as positive as you could get. Giving you transportation so you can get back and forth. See your family and your friends. Go back and forth to work. See your loved ones. And everything. Like I say, tomorrow we're going to be going live, and we're going to be actually selling some cars, going to a dealership, talking with some customers, having those customers tell us what they think about our organization, how we've helped them, or how we haven't helped them. So we'll have some testimonials tomorrow from our customers. All right, we're going to get back to some strategies. All right. The camera on my phone is terrific. I mean, the iPhone camera is super. I mean, it is super HD. I recommend the camera on the iPhone 7, but that's about it. I have more trouble with it as far as locking up than any iPhone I've ever had. Made me kind of wary about buying an 8. I actually went and bought a 6S because my 6, I never had that problem with my 6. We're gonna take a break. Okay. We're buying cars. We're selling cars. If any of you need a car, give us a call. We'll be glad to help you out. We are new and used. We're the newer used car guys. We can put you in a car, whether it be brand new or used. If you got bad credit, we can save the best of the used cars. For people with bad credit, newer used cars, 15s, 16s, some 17s. Yeah, that felt funny. My eye was itching. Thank you. Now, our channel is called Black Cannabis Culture. Used to be, but we are actually the newer used car guys. I'm trying to think of some customers that I had today. Let me look at my books. I had about 4 customers today. I only sold 1 car. Well, I delivered 2. Alexa, play The Magic of Thinking Big. Read The Magic of Thinking Big.
I don't see the playlist Magic of Thinking Big.
Alexa, read The Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. David Schwartz.
You finished The Magic of Thinking Big. Restarting it.
This is on. What? What? Oh, I want a new Porsche.
I want $17 million.
I want $18 million. Well, my life dream is to be able to help people in some sort of service-oriented business, but still make money and not have to swindle anybody.
I'd really like to get to do work that I really love, earn a great income at it, have a beautiful house by the ocean.
Do you have a dream?
Have lots of friends.
If you could do anything you wanted to do and have everything you've always wanted, do you know what it would be? Think about that. See if you can form a mental image of your ideal life. And then answer this question. What's stopping you? If you can dream it, why aren't you doing it? This is The Magic of Thinking Big, a plan for personal success by Dr. David Schwartz, one of America's foremost experts on motivation. David Schwartz is president of Creative Educational Services Incorporated, and he's a professor at Georgia State University. He's presented his ideas at thousands of conventions, management seminars, professional meetings, and clinics. And he's also helped thousands of people work better, sell better, enemies of success, such as fear, excuse-itis, and self-doubt. You'll learn effective confidence-building techniques and how to turn defeats, setbacks, into victories. You'll discover how to make your attitudes your allies for achieving success. And David Schwartz will show you how to think and act like a leader. So to start you on your road to success, here is David Schwartz.
Success means many wonderful positive things. Success means personal prosperity, financial security, a better life for you and your family. Success means finding real happiness and real satisfaction from life. Success, for those with the courage to pursue it, is the goal of life. At the outset, keep in mind that the size of your success is limited only by the size of your thinking. If you think small, with small ideas and small ambitions, then your success in turn will be small. But if you think big and believe in yourself, then your success will also be big. And here's the good news. No matter who you are, or what you are, or where you are right now, you can start thinking big. You can travel the road to big success. In fact, that's what you're doing at this very moment. You are taking your first giant step toward learning and applying the magic of thinking big to your life. Thinking big begins with believing big. You know, one of the greatest pieces of success-building wisdom is found in that biblical quotation that says, faith can move mountains. That is the essence of believing big. When you tell yourself, I'm positive I can, then your attitude, your belief, generates the power, the energy, and the skill to get the job done. Just listen for a moment to these two voices.
Ooh, that's a really big project. I don't know. I think it's a little bit too broad. The scope is too big for this department. Maybe what we should do is call in an outside consultant on this one.
Wow, this is really great. This kind of assignment is really going to make this department grow. This is what we've really been looking for. We need the challenge to stretch, and I give you my personal guarantee you'll get 150% out of this.
The difference between these two statements is belief. The first voice was a person who didn't believe in himself and who won't take on anything that looks bigger than his own petty view. The second person believed she could do it, and I'll give you my personal guarantee that because she believed she could do it, she got the job done. You see, belief is like a thermostat that regulates what we accomplish in life. Study the person that's just shuffling along down there in the mud of mediocrity. He believes that he's worth very little, and so he receives very little, and he accomplishes very little. His lack of belief in himself shows through in the way he walks, the way he talks, and the way he acts. Unless he can readjust his belief thermostat forward, his image of himself is going to continue to shrink. And since others see in us exactly what we see in ourselves, he will grow smaller in the estimation of the people around him as well. But now look at the person who's advancing forward. This person believes he's worth a great deal, and so he receives a great deal. He believes he can handle big, important, difficult assignments, and so he can, and so he does. In fact, everything the big thinker does, the way he handles himself with people, his thoughts, his viewpoints, all say, here is a professional, here is an important person.
Your mind is a thought factory. It's a factory that produces thousands of thoughts each day. There are two foremen in charge of your factory. One of them is named Mr. Triumph, and the other is named Mr. Defeat. Mr. Triumph is in charge of manufacturing positive thoughts. He specializes in producing reasons why you can do things, why you're qualified, why you will succeed. Mr. Defeat is in charge of negative thought production. He's your expert on developing reasons why you can't succeed, why you're weak or inadequate. To see how these two foremen work for you, try this. Say to yourself, It's a lousy day. This thought signals Mr. Defeat into action, and he immediately manufactures thoughts to prove that you're right. It's too hot, or it's too cold, or business looks bad today, sales will drop, you don't feel like dealing with customers, you have a headache, your wife or your husband was in a bad mood this morning. Mr. Defeat is amazingly efficient. In just a few minutes, he's done his job so well that you're completely convinced that this is a really bad day. But now tell yourself, this is a fine day. And this time, Mr. Triumph is signaled into action. And he tells you, yes, indeed, it's a wonderful day. The weather's refreshing. It's good to be alive. You can catch up on all that work today. It's a pleasure to be doing business on a day like this. And before you know it, it is a good day. Mr. Defeat will tell you why you can't land the Mortimer account. Mr. Triumph will tell you why you can. Mr. Defeat will tell you why you don't deserve the promotion and why you shouldn't even bother to try for it. Mr. Triumph will show you why no one else on earth is more qualified for that job than you are. Mr. Defeat will help you prepare a brilliant case against the guy you work with. He'll show you why he's impossible to be around and how he makes your life miserable. Mr. Triumph will show you his positive qualities and help you find ways to make your association with him succeed. The more you work with either of these foremen, the stronger they become, and the more space they take up in your mind. If you give Mr. Defeat more work, he'll take up more and more of the space, so that eventually your thought factory is producing nothing but negative thoughts. But if you give Mr. Triumph the work, then your thought factory will produce the thoughts that will propel you towards success. In fact, you can fire Mr. Defeat. You'll discover that you really don't need him at all. You can use Mr. Triumph 100% of the time and produce only positive, productive thoughts. The result of this kind of thought production is the most basic ingredient in personal success: self-belief.
A few years ago, I heard a remarkable story from an executive who talked to me after I addressed a group of business people in Atlanta. He told me that he had a personal experience that tied in perfectly with my talk that evening, and he wanted to share it with me. So, we went to a coffee shop and made ourselves comfortable, and this is what he told me.
About 5 years ago, I was just plodding along. I had sort of an average job in an average place. I was living in St. Louis. I have a wife and 3 kids, and I really wasn't very happy with my life. And something changed in me that I wanted to tell you about. It really directly related to what you were saying this evening. There was a job offer that came up in Atlanta for a little bit better money than I was getting at the time. And I thought, why not, you know, I'll go down and check it out. And I went down there, and in my hotel room the night before, I started thinking, why am I knocking myself out for this little measly pay raise, coming to Atlanta, relocating everything, uprooting my wife and kids? And I started thinking about friends that I had that were doing a lot better than I was, people that had lived near me or people that I had known in my business, and they were doing much better than I was. And I thought, what's different about them? And I actually sat down and started making a list of characteristics that they had and characteristics that I had, and I couldn't come up with anything really that they had that I didn't have. They weren't better educated, they weren't smarter than I was, they didn't have any better connections, and then it finally hit me. The difference was self-belief. It was faith in myself, and I didn't have that. I had been convincing myself and preaching to myself that I didn't deserve it, that I wasn't any good, or that I was average. I had never let myself believe that I could really be a success. That was a revelation to me. It was hard to accept that at first, but once I realized that was what was holding me back, it was like this big weight lifted off. It was incredible. My whole life changed. It was really that remarkable. I stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning going over this stuff. I went into the interview the next morning, 9 a.m. I wasn't the least bit tired. In fact, I was still jazzed. I was totally charged up. And I went in and I asked for half again as much money as I had planned to. And because I had self-belief and because I had confidence, they gave me the job. Since then, I'm one of the top guys in the firm, and I've really established myself as somebody who can bring in business. And the firm reorganized 3 years ago. I got a huge bonus, stock option, and a salary increase. Everything has just been going up and up since then. I realized that there was that discovery that night that I made, my discovery of my own self-worth and my belief in myself that made the difference. Like everyone says, you can't sell a product if you don't believe in it. And it's the same with yourself. Now I believe in myself.
That's a remarkable story. And it's not unique. Time and time again, people have proven they can change their lives. They can increase their earning power, improve their self-esteem, change their self-image, sell themselves better, live better, be happier, and achieve greater success. And it all starts with self-belief. There are examples of the power of belief all around you. Today we fly on jet airliners because back at the turn of the century, 2 bicycle mechanics, Orville and Wilbur Wright, believed in themselves and their ideas.
That's our broadcast for today. We're going to take you guys out another time. We're going to be signing off and going back to work, getting some work back done. There's a question: how do I get a car? And just give us a call.
Hi. Like Erskabadi.
Forgot to post the number, so if you wanted to call me direct and talk live on the air, you can dial me direct on my lines.
wasn't the least bit high. In fact, I was still jazzed. I was totally charged up. And I went in and I asked for half again as much money as I had planned to. And because I had self-belief and because I had confidence, they gave me the job. Since then, I'm one of the top guys in the firm, and I've really established myself as somebody who can bring in business. And the firm reorganized 2 years ago. I got a huge bonus, stock option, and a salary increase. Everything has been going up and up since then. And I realized that it was that discovery that night that I made it. My discovery of my own self-worth and my belief in myself has made a difference. Like everyone says, you can't sell a product if you don't believe in it. And it's the same with yourself. Now I believe in myself.
That's a remarkable story. And it's not unique. Time and time again, people have proven they can change their lives. They can increase their earning power, improve their self-esteem, change their self-image, sell themselves better, live better, be happier, and achieve greater success. And it all starts with self-belief. There are examples of the power of belief all around you. Today we fly on jet airliners because back at the turn of the century, 2 bicycle mechanics, Orville and Wilbur Wright, believed in themselves and their ideas.
That's our broadcast for today. We're going to take you guys out.